Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Ben, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say welcome to everybody joining us here today. We're not going to start off immediately. We're going to wait a couple of minutes to let people get into the call. So while we are getting set up, the first question we like to ask is, can you guys hear us? Can you see us? And let's start with that. If we can just get a quick message from anyone in the chat just to say hello, so we know that you guys can hear us. And while we give people a few more minutes to get in, hello, excellent. While we wait a few more minutes to get people to get in, I always like to try and start this with a bit of an icebreaker, a bit of an early start. We're going into the holiday season, and I'm always looking for easy gift recommendations. So, my question to people in the chat, and I'll ask you as well. What is a book that you're currently reading or would absolutely recommend to someone? Personally, I'm currently rereading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I read it at least once a year. Armini, are you reading anything currently?
I really like to read fiction, so I'm reading right now. I'm reading Norwegian Woods by Haruki Murakami. It's a Japanese writer, so I like it. I can recommend that one to you if you are into
Yeah,
fiction.
sounds great. Is this Japanese writer? So Japanese originally translated, or is it written in English or whatever?
I'm reading it in English because I don't speak Japanese,
Okay.
unfortunately. But yeah.
Fantastic. I can think people, if anyone would like to put their recommendations in there as well, we are seeing people starting to trickle in. Vendingo by Albagon Blackwood. I honestly, that was a very fun sentence to say, but not a book I've ever heard. So I will be adding that to the list to investigate. Thank you very much. Um, right, it's been a couple of minutes. We'll give this a starting attempt. Let me once again welcome everyone. Originally, of course, if you're here live, pleasure to have you here. We also are recording this, so if you're watching this in our on demand later, hello, welcome. I would also like to know what your favorite book is. Maybe send it to us on LinkedIn or something. I'm going to start with a quick introduction. My name is Ben Collins-Jones. I am a solution specialist here at SplitMetrics. I've actually been here for a few years now. I was actually celebrated my anniversary at SplitMetrics last week. And I've been working in social media and mobile ad SaaS for sort of nearly 8 years now, I think it is, something like that. Um, we are going to be discussing and going through a whole series of topics talking about the new markets. But to talk about from my experience, my knowledge and expertise is in a combination of B2C and B2B. I'm also been working in everything from fintech to crypto to sports betting and gaming to hyper casual games to meditation apps and everything in between. So I'm very excited to hopefully hear more about what you guys have got going on. And I have support a number of SplitMetrics customers across multiple new markets, including the 21 new markets that we are going to be discussing here today as well. Geek at heart, love a good dashboard, love a good set of data, and I really enjoy a well-made infographic. There's a couple that we're going to be showing today that I'm very excited about, and that's a bit about me. I am not here alone, of course. I have a wonderful co-host with me, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Armina, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. Just a little about my background. I'm a UI manager with a 7-year experience in user acquisition with Apple Search Ads, Google Ads, Meta Ads, and TikTok. In my career, I have worked with different apps from different industries and also different scales from mid to large scale and help them acquire new users and high LTV users. And I'm very happy today to be sharing insights with you about the newly launched markets and looking forward to our discussion.
Thank you very much. Before we move on and go into the sort of core part of today's webinar, I do want to take a moment and just introduce SplitMetrics. SplitMetrics is a global company offering an ecosystem of enterprise grade products and services that serve as a growth engine for mobile businesses. We're an Apple Search Ads partner, an official Apple Search Ads partner with a dedicated team of 170, over 170 of us. Wow. Now, experts who live and breathe mobile app growth. We are the perfect solution for growth as a growth engine for mobile businesses, and we're obsessed with making our customers successful. We also have a built-in and are utilizing 5 key solutions. SplitMetrics Acquire, our flagship platform for AI-driven Apple Search Ads optimization, which also has built-in SplitMetrics Intelligence, a suite of advanced AI models to support app marketing and UA managers across industries and storefronts. We have App Radar, an AI-driven app store optimization platform. SplitMetrics Optimized, an advanced mobile optimization platform, a phenomenal solution for A/B testing, and SplitMetrics Agency, a full-cycle mobile marketing agency. We literally have everything you could possibly need to manage your Apple Search Ads and more presence, and we are going to be discussing lots of different elements today, but I think it would be very appropriate for me to have introduced us and what it is exactly that we do. Going through today's agenda, we're going to start with an overview of the new markets, where we'll cover trends, challenges, growth opportunities, and my lovely co-host has prepared some great insights that she's going to share with us today. After that, I'll take a lead on a more hands-on session. We'll dive into the best practices for Apple Search Ads campaigns, introducing tips on account structure and campaign structure, as well as also some great automation rules that could really get your account going very quickly. Finally, we'll wrap up with showing you how to set up and run an Apple Search Ads campaign targeting these new countries using SplitMetrics Acquire. Now, before we start, there are a couple of housekeeping notes. First, we'll have a live Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to drop any of your questions in the chat as we go along. And we'll do everything we can to answer the questions during today's Q&A. And any unanswered questions, we will also reach out and contact you guys via email and answer the questions there as well. Second, the session is being recorded, so anybody who has registered, we will also then make sure you receive the recording of the session shortly after today's event. And finally, last but by no means least, we have prepared a few polls for you throughout today's discussion. We'd love to take a moment to share your responses, and they'll help guide our conversation, and we'll discuss some of the results that we see here today as well. And with that, Armini, please take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. And as Ben already mentioned, we have actually prepared a couple of polls for you. So the first one we are launching right now. Event team, please launch it. The question is if you have already started campaigns in any of the newly launched markets. And the answers is yes, we are actively running, yes, but we are focusing on just a few of them. Not yet, but we are planning. And no, we are not planning to run campaigns in these markets ever. Feel free to participate, and we will share the results during the webinar. Yeah, now going to the main insights that we would like to share. Launching a new campaign or campaigns in a new market comes with a lot of questions, from being able to support the newly acquired customers in the native language to what kind of ROI we can expect in this new market. So in order to help you to understand the newly available markets, we have gathered a couple of insights, mostly economic and also about the demographic background of the countries, so that you have some key insights and you set some expectations from each of these geos. The newly launched countries actually span 4 global regions: Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. And among them, Turkey stands out as the largest economy by GDP in 2023, according to the World Bank data, and also by the number of population. Then Turkey is followed by Iraq, Algeria, Morocco, and Slovakia, as you can see in the on the slide. Yeah. In the coming slides, we can see that Turkey also holds a huge potential in terms of the app market size. So when we look at the GDP per capita, which basically means which are the richest countries on the list, we can see that Luxembourg is on the top, and it actually ranks as the wealthiest country in the European Union by GDP per capita, and its citizens enjoy a very high standard of living. And then it's followed by Iceland, Cyprus, Slovenia, and Estonia. Iceland stands out as the world's largest producer of electricity per capita. And among the other countries, I would like to highlight Cyprus and Estonia, especially because they are known for their digitalization, digital markets, and also they are known as popular economies for startup growth, investments, and the overall digital ecosystem. So there are a lot of apps, especially in Cyprus, for example, in shipping and trading or gaming categories, a lot of apps and app developers are hosted there. Moving forward, next slide, please. Yeah. When we are launching new campaigns in newly launched markets, it's also very, very important to understand the app market size and also how many smartphone users are in the country, what is the internet penetration level, and the overall level of digitalization, because these metrics will help you understand what kind of ROI you can expect and how many users you can expect for your user acquisition efforts. We have on this slide, we have actually gathered data for Turkey as the largest and most lucrative market among the 21 newly launched countries. In 2023, the app market size in Turkey was 910 million USD, and there were 67.3 million smartphone users in 2023, which accounts for about 80% of the country's population, which is quite huge. And when it comes to smartphone and social media and internet usage in general, Turkish people spend an average of 6.57 hours online each day, which is quite a high number. So I think you can monetize like a lot, and they spend a lot of time online. Going to the next slide. Yeah, another important thing to consider when launching campaigns is the app growth trends and opportunities. According to Adjust data, the fastest growing app categories in Turkey based on app installs and sessions include gaming, stock trading, banking, and shopping. In Q1 2024, stock trading apps saw impressive growth, with installs increasing by 54% year over year and sessions rising by 61%. Banking apps are also showing an increase, and also gaming apps are showing an increase despite the overall drop last year. So we can see that these industries, these categories are quite popular in Turkey. Yeah, also, I would like to mention that the AI industry is also blooming in Turkey, and there are many apps who have embraced this technology, or apps who were there, but or newly launched apps who come into the market who have already started using AI in their technology. Going to the next slide. This is actually my favorite one because this is about creatives and visuals. Before launching campaigns in any new region, it's very, very important to not only just translate and localize your content and brand messaging for the region, but also to understand what are the local trends in ad visuals, because these vary, I would say, a lot. by country, by app category, by demographics, by user segment, so by a lot of different categories. It doesn't mean that you have to completely rethink your creative strategy, but it's good to check, to do some research and to understand what is trending in the given market. On this slide, we have gathered some of the icons, app icons from popular app across different categories. You can see them here, and you can see that it's very colorful. I would like to highlight this, that for example, in Eastern cultures like Japan, we will see a lot of bright colors because of the cultural influence of kawaii, and on the other hand, in the Western cultures, preference is usually given to more minimalistic and uncluttered themes and visuals. There are a lot of tools available that can help you conduct this research quickly and effectively. One of the tools that you can use is App Radar by SplitMetrics, where you can research different apps and check what visuals they are using. And also in SplitMetrics Acquire, you can also explore custom product page designs for various keyword apps and countries and have a general understanding of what's trending in terms of the visuals. Yeah, before we dive into the most common challenges, in new markets, let's take a look at the poll results. Yeah, so most of the people, 32%, haven't yet launched campaigns, but are actively planning to launch campaigns soon, which is great. Good luck with that. And then 26% of people have already launched, but are focusing on just a couple of the markets for now. 26%, just equal to the second point, are not planning to run campaigns in these markets. Please share why. And on the first, the first answer, 16% of users, yes, we are actively running campaigns in multiple new markets. Good job. Congratulations. And I hope they are already going well. Great. We can now move to the, sorry, one second. Yes, the most common challenges that come with launching in new markets. One of the biggest problems or issues when launching in a new market is the absence of historical data, because we know that algorithms perform better with time and data signals, which usually makes campaign optimization more efficient. And it's often very daunting to understand what KPIs should I look at, what metrics should I optimize first when I'm just starting the campaigns. Our recommendation here is to try to start campaigns with your KPIs, maybe from similar markets, or if you are already, if your app already has users in this given market and you have some historical data, you can start with some approximate KPIs and then optimize your campaigns based on already the data that you are gathering from the campaign. But using your KPIs from other geos or from your historical data in that given geo, perhaps from other channels, is a good starting point. As I mentioned earlier, localization is also essential, but it's not just about translating key messages. It's about ensuring that your content makes sense to the users and it's relatable for them. Otherwise, you may end up like KFC, sorry, in China, when they were just entering the market and they translated their slogan, "Finger licking good," as "eat your fingers off" into Chinese, which obviously sounded a bit weird, and yeah, it was a fail. So yeah, make sure to consult maybe native speakers or experts who have a good understanding of the language and specifics, and then localize your creatives and messaging. When it comes to understanding regional user behavior and, for example, the search terms they are looking for, you can use several tools. For example, SplitMetrics solutions offer features like keyword discovery in SplitMetrics Acquire, where you can easily get a list of keywords. And keywords I would like to mention in different languages that are spoken in a given country, because a lot of, or not a lot, but some of the newly launched markets have different languages spoken within the same country. So SplitMetrics Acquire gives a whole list of keywords in different languages with translations. So it's a good starting point for keyword research. And then another challenge is scaling and automation. But we also have automation solutions that make this task easier. In SplitMetrics, you can manage bids, you can automate reports and monitor your competitors all in one place very easily, and also scale and automate your bidding, which will make the job much more easier.
Thank you very much. Before we dive into the demo itself, I just want to quickly touch on something that may seem very basic, but it is ultimately very crucial. And that is having an account structure that's ready for both scaling and automation. To build an effective account structure, you should include brand, competitor, generic keyword campaigns. These campaigns will feature keywords relevant to your business that have proven effective over time. However, new search terms will then begin to emerge in your niche as new product features, trends, and brands develop. Therefore, you must constantly search for new keywords to include in your campaigns. Now, a smart way to do this is to create a discovery campaign which your core keywords set to broad match. It's important that you include these keywords as negative keywords as well, so the exact match will then effectively prevent self-competition. It's using the foundation of the keyword to find new similar search terms, but not using the keyword itself. It's also worth creating an algorithm without any keywords, using search match to let the algorithm just find relevant search terms for your app or game as well. Now, good little SplitMetrics tip here is then to add a proxy campaign. This will then automatically where you can transfer any promising search terms discovered by your discovery campaigns into keywords that you can then test, because maybe they have a great CPA, but with only 2 purchases, you may need to test it further to fully understand the potential and capabilities of what that keyword might have for you. So this proxy campaign effectively becomes an additional testing environment to identify, yes, it looked good in theory, but when it's given a bit more resource, a bit more capabilities to perform for you, you'll be able to then test its full potential without disrupting your already well-performing campaigns. Once the keyword proves effective, you are then able to then transfer it from the proxy campaign into the brand's generic competitor, whichever one is appropriate. This can also be done automatically. I said this could also, but the first point is this entire process I'm talking about in terms of discovery can actually be automated through the use of our platform's automation rules. So actually, although it sounds like a complicated process, the entire thing is done automatically with actually low performing keywords being paused and removed from the process, while the good high performing search terms and keywords are then pushed forward into your long-term campaigns. This ultimately means that you don't need to do daily reviews, daily manual management. It will be managed automatically for you. There is also further logic we can put in place. In the next slide, we will then talk about the ability to then have a few simple campaign automations must-haves. Now, this graph is one of my personal favorites. I actually have used it 4 or 5 times today with customers while I've been helping support them optimize their Apple Search Ads efforts. And effectively, the important thing to focus on is having the rules focus on adjusting bids based on key success metrics like cost per acquisition. If you're utilizing integrating your MMP, choosing a post-install event could be anything from the first revenue generating event to potentially some sort of intention event like sign up, registration, etc. It's then important to understand exactly how these rules work properly. A keyword must have gained enough conversion events and actually have generated enough traffic for you so that there is enough events, because if there aren't enough events attributed to your campaigns or keywords, we will then use the spend amount as a safety condition. If the spend is less than a set limit, let's say X, then the number of tracked events may not be sufficient for decision making. The first rule must have is a decrease logic. Decrease the bid when there are no conversions or very, very low conversions, or if we're looking at, for example, a post-install event, that maybe the cost per that event is not appropriate. It's maybe much higher or much more above your sort of standard average. Then the logic will then drive that bid down a little bit in order to then sort of get it back in line with that target goal. The second role is then to increase the bid when the average CPA is ultimately proving better than you expected. You're achieving a better target CPA than you had necessarily anticipated for these keywords, and then having logic that then increases the rules. The important thing to always consider, and I always advise my customers, it's always about balance. For every rule that increases a bid, you should have an appropriate strategic rule that decreases the bid, so that these two things are ultimately optimizing the keyword to find exactly what bid is close to as potentially exactly a few cents between in a dollar, a few centimes in a euro, to specifically find exactly where that perfect sweet spot is in the market at that time. The target CPA corridor is typically a sort of 5 to 10% higher or lower than the target CPA, and that's to then avoid unnecessary bid changes when the average CPA is extremely close to that target. And then last, by no means least, an increased logic that if you have absolutely not sufficient enough data, maybe the impressions are quite low, the conversions are quite low, that ultimately you're boosting the reach to ensure that those conversions are giving you the best opportunity. So it's a very, very simple series of logics and actually can be set up within in our system utilizing any of our pre-built automation rules that you can just activate. You can have it done in a matter of like 3 or 4 clicks. Now, moving on. We're going to then start going into actually the campaign setup process itself. In SplitMetrics, you can create automation rules at 4 different account levels. You can automate elements around the entire campaigns, the ad groups, the keywords, or the search terms. You can also then, from there, depending on the level you choose up to 8 groups of rule conditions are available, such as ad performance, in-app events, custom conversions, metrics, cohort attributes, BI metrics, market insights, like your live share of voice, and your account settings. Effectively, you can create hundreds and hundreds of different rule conditions and hundreds of different rule variations, ultimately that fits or matches your business's needs. You can then select automated actions from a predefined list, set frequencies and limits for the rules. You can then say, okay, using an and or operators, when choosing these conditions, you can say this rule will increase our bids if our cost per install is X, but also if our impression share is Y. And you can also have these sort of varying different varieties to ultimately capture multiple different use cases. The flexibility has covered over 200 Apple Search Ads automation use cases to date, and that number just keeps growing as our customers get more and more creative in what they want that automation to do. To make the initial setup easier, the platform has also, as I mentioned earlier, a selection of built-in rule templates and a change log so you can then monitor what changes the rules are making for you. On this next slide, you'll see a couple of examples of these automation rules that I have discussed already. We're using the SplitMetrics. We've got a very clear and simple to use UI. So even beginners who have only been given access to the platform for the very first time can set up these rules and add the necessary conditions to suit their business goals. And these are those 2 rules I mentioned earlier. One that increases based on the top performing keywords, and another one that's going to then decrease for those that potentially are low converters. And I want to point out, as of now, SplitMetrics Acquire has already launched over 5,000 campaigns targeting the brand new countries that we're here to talk about today, or across the 21 different new storefronts. And that was just stats from the last week. The top 5 countries by the numbers of campaigns launched: Turkey is in first place, Luxembourg, Estonia, Slovakia, and Cyprus being the next 4. That's not to say that these are the perfect markets to potentially be launching in, but we just know that these are the ones that are proven to be most popular, as the things discussed by Armeni earlier. Now, we are going to very shortly dive into the live demo part, where I'll be actually creating a couple of live campaigns just to show you how simple it is to use in our platform. But before we do that, I do have a poll. Poll number 2, are you currently using any sort of automation solutions to manage your Apple Search Ads campaigns? And the options are: yes, I'm using a third party; no, I manage them directly through the Apple Search Ads account; and no, but I am considering automation. We will give that a couple of moments for you guys to answer that particular poll. And while we do that, I will then go into the live demo. Now, it's a very simple process to create campaigns in SplitMetrics. This is our demo environment, so everything you're seeing here is a simulated account, so for the purpose of today's demonstration. Now, I've to create anything, and it's as simple as this doesn't just apply to the campaigns, it also applies to the ad groups, adding keywords, negative keywords, etc. You start by pressing the big blue plus button and simply clicking Create Campaign. When you do that, you'll be taken to this screen here, and it is as simple as simply selecting your application, which account, if you have more than one ad account connected to SplitMetrics, exactly which one that you would like to select, where you would like the ad placement to be, selecting from the 4 ad placements supported by Apple Search Ads. And here is where you can then select the storefront, and also very easily be able to select multiple storefronts if you would like, but you would be able to then select the any of the new ones that we've talked about today, and then enter the campaign name, select daily budget, and then hit create campaign. And you can even go as far as selecting the ad scheduling as well, so you can choose exactly when those ads will start, and also optionally when they end as well. So if you're doing anything around, as we are in the holiday season, any sort of focused seasonality efforts, you can choose when they start and when they stop. That is how you want to create it from scratch. From there, you can then go into the system and create the ad groups, add it to the campaign, create the add the keywords, etc. But sometimes it's a case of, well, actually, I've already done most of this work already. I already have a great campaign that I know has all of my core keywords that I'd like to use in this storefront. And it is simply a case of selecting the the campaigns that you would like to potentially duplicate. Select actions, and then duplicate selected campaigns. From here, you'll be able to then select again which ad group these would be going to, and you get to choose what part of the campaigns that you would like to duplicate. So for example, actually, maybe you want to create the core structure, the core campaigns, the core ad groups, but maybe you want to add new keywords and new negative keywords. Great. Select which of those that you'd like to transfer over. And when you select new campaign settings, you would then have the ability before to give it some potentially new names, and then also apply the storefront selections, the daily budget, etc. So in a matter of 3 or 4 clicks, it's entirely possible for you to completely duplicate 5, 10, 15 campaigns in our system and have them go live in the relevant storefront with all of the pre-existing settings, keywords, negative keywords already set up. So when it comes to then launching in these new storefronts, in these new markets, it is genuinely as simple as selecting what you already have in place and having them deployed in the new storefronts within a matter of minutes. It's that easy. It's that straightforward. If anyone is more interested in how to utilize this platform or would like to have more conversations, we'd be more than happy to arrange a one-to-one demonstration with you guys as well to show that functionality. But it is that simple. I wish I could do like a whole, oh, it's going to be a big song and dance. No, we make it sweet. We make it short and easy for you as a team, as a user to deploy in these new storefronts, in these new markets. Now, we are going to have a quick look at the poll results and review exactly how those have come out. So actually, it's been quite a big split. There are people already utilizing a third-party solution. That is a no surprise. There is a number of people, 25% of you are currently managing campaigns directly through Apple Search Ads. That's absolutely fine, and you guys are utilizing a great technology to do so. And last but not least, no, but I'm considering automation. Automation, I just want to quickly talk about that. Starting automation does feel like a very scary starting point. However, as I mentioned in those previous slides, there's two key and golden rules I can always say to people. Think about it from a balance perspective. As I said before, every rule that increases a bid, maybe activates a campaign, increases the daily budget, there needs to be a reverse action. It's all about that balance. The second piece is map it out using technologies like, just a whiteboard, notebooks, sticky notes, using a whiteboard technology like Mira, for example. Outline what you would like to automate. Work out what part of the work are you spending the most of your time doing, but not necessarily getting the most out of it. For example, having to manually change the bids on keywords. It's time consuming, but not necessarily particularly, challenging or high priority in the sense of there's potentially more logical strategic projects you could be focusing on. So think about things like that, and that's where you should then start considering building that automation. We have one more slide before we go into the live Q&A. And that is because I cannot have you guys join us here today and not briefly talk about the AI capabilities that we've released in SplitMetrics Acquire in the earlier this September. Now, actually, some of this AI optimization options has been around for a lot longer. Speaking of which, the AI bid optimization. Why should this matter to you? First and foremost, it offers a significant time and cost saving solution that is designed to ultimately maximize your ROI. Imagine a UA manager who is overseeing campaigns across 5 or even 10 channels, search, display, pragmatic, whatever it might be. Now picture that the manager is having to then do the same while running Apple search ads with thousands of keywords. What this means is adjusting bids manually, even with bulk tools, can take hours because of each adjustment requires a well thought out strategy, some competitor analysis, metric alignment, and ensure that ultimately your economics are accurate. SplitMetrics AI transforms this whole process. It's setting and adjusting bids based on real-time market conditions and account data in minutes. If the manager is spending 2 hours daily on bid adjustments alone, multiply by their hourly rate, and the working days in a month, that is a significant cost savings. I recently helped a customer complete a trial that we realized that the across a 30-day window, I think it was roughly 50,000 individual assessments of keywords occurred in that 30-day window, give or take 30 seconds to 45 seconds to potentially 2 minutes per change. We're talking literally tens, if not hundreds of hours saved monthly just through utilizing our AI optimization strategy. Last but not least, beyond time saving, it also allows your team to focus on the more strategic tasks. Such as planning for seasonal peaks, competitor analysis, or managing maybe another channel that needs to be focused on or takes more priority at that point in time. Ultimately, this tool is designed to not only boost your team's productivity, but also ensure that you're driving and maximizing your ROI opportunities. There's also a huge area around missed opportunities as well. People finding challenges in the ability to do things like imagine a competitor has launched a brand new campaign, creating a surge of traffic in your category, or maybe there's been some news broken that suddenly has driven a huge demand for a particular app or industry. No person can monitor and respond to these shifts instantly. And missing on them or missing out on them can mean lost revenue, lost market share, and having to pinpoint the exact cost of these missed opportunities. Ultimately, savvy businesses are using AI to stay agile. You need to use these technologies to remain competitive and to ultimately capture valuable opportunities when they arise. The great example that I was on a webinar a little while ago with with the CEO, founder of a great podcast called Women and AI. And she said a great sentence that I have not stopped thinking about since, which is let AI do the mundane so that you can do the exceptional. And that is very much the ethos behind the AI technologies that we have within SplitMetrics. I'll also mention our AI bid simulator, along with common questions like what should our optimal budget be? How should we allocate it across campaigns and ad placements? There's always one really big one. what will happen if we increase the bids? And actually, for a UA professional, a marketer, even me as a solution specialist, spending hours upon hours in Apple search ads, it's a really difficult question because it comes down to it depends, right? The reality is that analyzing the level of data and the forecasting the outcomes takes considerable time and resource, and using our AI, it's far simpler. Our models analyze 240 million data points and daily as well, 240 million points daily to provide highly accurate insights. So that allows you to then have the manual analysis can simply not achieve. And a UA manager trying to ask one of your UA managers to analyze 240 million data points every day to then say, okay, and then do we need to increase this bid to improve our chances? It's simply something they would not be able to do and probably would not be able to be done on their work computer. They'll probably need some sort of supercomputer that only exists in NASA and I assume in some secret military bunker somewhere. Now, for data privacy, this is an important thing as well. A lot of people are always want to know, okay, but what does this mean for me in terms of, more data? Is this an impact for me? At SplitMetrics, we take data privacy very, very seriously. We are certified under SOC 2, and we have also recently received our ISO 27001 standard certifications, which is a point of about our validation and our commitment to rigorous data security and privacy practices. Each account functions as a distinct environment, and all decision-making processes occur within isolated contexts. We may use aggregated data to train our models, but this data is anonymized and cannot be traced back to its specific campaigns or user. The model applies its learned insights in a way that does not involve cross-referencing data between different ad accounts. Your data is your data. There is absolutely zero cross-contamination, and we are very, very serious about that. Now, that has pretty much been me talking at you guys for a little while now. We do want to go over to the live Q&A. There were a few in the chat that I saw. How many did you see one that you wanted to particularly answer? And do you want to just read out the question and go for it?
Yeah, actually, I see an interesting question from Siddharth Akbari, asking how can we test if our CPP works well or if the main product page performs effectively? Can we test this by bidding the same amount, running both on the same keyword and during the same time period? So this question is a very interesting one. I think a lot of UA managers are interested in this, and it kind of already has the answer within itself. Yes, my recommendation would be to run them at the same time. And also one tip is to avoid doing bid optimizations during the testing period, because if you do bid optimizations, it will be harder for you to know whether to attribute the success or even failure to the bid optimization or the creative quality in the custom product page. So for this reason, just try to have one variable, which in this case will be the product page. Another method to test them simultaneously will be to run them in two different ad groups, same keywords, but to schedule these ad groups on specific hours per day so that you run them simultaneously, but not overlapping with each other. This is another strategy that you can implement in order to have a clear picture and also to keep it to one variable in your test.
Excellent. One question that I wanted to get to, which was asked by, I did say to Eden that I would answer it later on, which I have just made a quick note of it. So let me just make sure I get it exactly right. If my app doesn't support the languages of these new markets, can I still run Apple Search Ads campaigns there? The simple answer is yes. And I mean, he's going to say the same. The answer is yes. However, localization is very important. There was another question around, should I totally localize my CPPs? Any resource that you can commit to localizing your efforts in both Apple Search Ads and CPPs is going to have value if done correctly. That's the important thing to say. We've talked about doing competitor analysis. However, I do also encourage you to also look into other markets and other industries. For localization of CPPs, look at finance apps. They do a very good job of doing it in a very subtle way, which is simply changing the currency on the on the imagery to the local currency. Maybe even just adjusting the colors to match the colors of the flag of the country that they're targeting. But those little changes can be very, very impactful on your CPPs. So yes, do you need to totally localize your CPPs and campaigns to operate in these markets? No, but it does help. Did you see another one you wanted to answer, Amani?
Yeah, perhaps this one about the metrics that should be prioritized when evaluating campaign success in new regions. Actually, we partially already covered this when we were answering what KPIs should I focus on when launching in a new market. So just start with your own KPIs, but also it's important to analyze all the metrics from top of the funnel to the bottom, because it may happen that, for example, for some visual context or some differences in the user behavior or user understanding, user perception of your visual content, for example, you are losing users at the upper funnel. So it's important to look at all of the metrics and compare to what you are having in other markets where you have been running for quite a while. This is one important thing that I would recommend. And the upper funnel metrics will be tap through rate, cost per tap, conversion rate from tap to install, cost of install, etc. And coming to, there is another important thing that I wanted to highlight is that it's good to compare your data. If you already have some historical data in this given geo, it's better to compare your data with whatever you have in this specific geo rather than other even similar geos, because your LTV may differ and may vary greatly based on the geos you are targeting. So this is also another important thing to keep in mind.
One that I just saw, which was a simple question of how do we start discovery campaigns to find new keywords? Create a brand new campaign using your naming convention with the word discovery campaign in it. And then when you're adding, take your existing keyword list from your branded campaigns, from your generic campaigns, and add them to that new campaign. But the important difference is rather than having it set to exact match, having it set to broad match. I would also then recommend having duplicating that list a second time, but adding it as a negative keyword list. And it's that simple. You then have created a discovery campaign. Why have the keywords in both the main keyword list and the negative keyword list? Because that broad match option will then find keywords similar to that keyword that you found, that you've added to that list. But by adding it to the negative keyword list, it's not going to use the exact keyword. So if your app is called photo app, put photo app in the keyword list. It will find keywords similar to photo app, but won't bid on photo app specifically. We are having a ton of questions. This is great. Do you want to choose another one? I think we've got enough time for maybe one more, or maybe one or two more each.
Yeah. Just let me pick one. Can we automate Google Ads campaigns through SplitMetrics? I'm afraid no.
We
Yeah,
are
so
we're a single channel solution because Apple Search as in itself is a very unique channel because it has unique formatting, the unique user base. So what we do is specialize in Apple Search Ads when it comes to acquire, which means we are Apple Search Ads experts.
yeah, but as an agency, we also offer Google as a channel. So we have clients who use Google Ads as a channel. Yeah, I would like also to answer this one maybe, Ben. For a new app, what campaign structure would you recommend? Should I create separate campaigns for each country, or is it better to combine all the countries into one campaign? Generally, I would recommend to keep them separate, because especially if you are using SplitMetrics Acquire, you will have, if you are running in a single storefront in a single country, you will have a lot of insights into the impression share, ranking, etc. If you are running a campaign in one storefront, and also it's way easier to scale the campaign later if it's only in one storefront. If you are running several storefronts in one campaign and you see, let's say, one of them is performing very well and the others are doing so-so, then you have to separate the geos, which creates an operational difficulty. Let's say you either need to move the lower performing ones or the better performing one into a new campaign. So having in mind scalability, I would usually recommend to launch in separate countries. And when it comes to campaign structure, Ben already highlighted the structure, but on top of that, I would just like to add that sometimes it may vary based on the app category. For example, there are apps that don't really have a lot of generic keywords, for example. Just there is no one. If it's a very breakthrough product and nobody really knows about it, it's the first in this category, etc. So maybe you will be lacking the generic keywords, so there won't be a point in running the campaign at that time. And you can just start with, let's say, competitors if there are, or perhaps with a search match campaign. Or if you are not yet an established brand, you are just entering the market, then a brand campaign wouldn't really make sense from the very beginning. So you can go with the generic and competitor terms. And then once you generate enough brand awareness and search volumes with your brand term, then you can start with brand campaigns as well. So these kind of things vary from app to app.
I'm going to answer one more that I've seen, which was, what's the best way to discover relevant keywords for these new markets if I don't speak the local language? The simple answer, we've already discussed discovery campaigns. That's a really powerful and effective way to find what is popular, what is trending, what is associated with your app, your industry very effectively. Utilizing tools like SplitMetrics Acquire, we have a built-in keyword discovery tool that has built-in translations so that you see the keywords as they should appear in your campaigns, but then that translation function is there so that you can see immediately exactly what that terminology is. And then I actually just want to add as a quick tip, as a pro tip from myself, is I would also just say make sure you have a look at your existing campaign strategy and your existing campaign structure as well, because obviously choosing the dominant language in a country is a priority. But for example, I work with a number of customers who have US storefronts or work in the US storefronts, and I believe the statistics is one of three Americans speak Spanish as either their native language or a second language. So why on earth would you not include Spanish versions of your terms or Spanish versions of your keywords in your existing storefronts as well? So if you are going through the effort of starting to localize or start producing keyword lists for these new storefronts and these new countries, don't hesitate to maybe have a look at your existing storefronts as well, because actually looking at the language breakdown in these different countries, if you know, for example, your focus is a particular country that has a really strong Asian population, maybe like a very strong Japanese community or culture there, then absolutely think about maybe including some simple translations of your key brand or most successful terms in Japanese as well. So it's just a quick tip, just something I always recommend. That, I think, is everything. That was fun. Thank you very much for joining us. We do have a couple last points just to make before we call it a day. At SplitMetrics, we have a commitment to effectively help mobile brands and also game developers succeed with Apple Search Ads through our own extensive educational content. We have a final poll live, which we would love to get your feedback on, because doing sessions like this, as well as the on this slide, you can see some of our most popular resources that people use. They're all available on the SplitMetrics blog to help people develop and extend their skill sets in Apple Search Ads. So please, your feedback is taken very seriously, and you can get these materials from our to get market insights, understand best practices, and also a great benchmarking tool to see how your campaigns square up against the industry averages as well. I've been Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here today. And if you're watching this on demand, thank you for coming watching us again. If there are anything else that we'd like to add, I mean, anything you'd like to add before we wrap up today?
No, nothing. Just thank you everyone for attending and hope you have a great evening, I guess.
No,
Depends on
absolutely.
where you
My
are.
last point was my email, and I know Amani's email is on that last slide. If you have any further questions or you just want to pick someone's brains about anything we discussed here today, please do reach out. We'll be more than happy to help you out.